So this is going to be the movie review. This one's called The Fog 2005. This is going to be another giving you 5 out of 5 stars. I love this flick. For some reason, it reminded me of Ghost Lake. I don't know why, but it's so dark and dreary that I couldn't keep my eyes off of it. Wow. What an awesome remake this is. I've never seen the original, The Fog, but maybe I'll add it now. John Carpenter is the producer, so I should give him producer credit. He's the producer of his own remake. Pretty cool stuff. Produced by John Carpenter. All right. The Fog is a 2005 supernatural horror film directed by Rupert Wainwright and starring Tom Welling, Selma Blair, and Maggie Grace. It is a remake of John Carpenter's 1980 film of the same name and was produced by Carpenter and Debra Hill, who co-wrote the original film. I guess I'll give Debra Hill writing credits. If I can find the original Fog from 1980. Here we go. Written by Debra Hill. Okay. There, fix that. The film tells the story of a strange fog that sweeps in over an island town off the coast of Oregon, bringing with it the vengeful spirits of mariners who were murdered there 134 years before. The townspeople find themselves trapped and fighting for their lives while discovering the truth of their dark history. Pretty cool looking theatrical release poster. Produced by Revolution Studios, it was released by Sony Pictures, releasing Columbia Pictures label on October 14, 2005. The film received negative reviews by critics and it grossed $46.2 million. Not bad. Not bad for a little horror flick from Columbia Pictures. 2005. All right. Production companies: Columbia Pictures, Revolution Studios, Debra Hill Productions, David Foster Productions. Distributed by Sony Pictures Releasing. Release date October 14, 2005. Running time 100 minutes. Theatrical. The unrated version is 103 minutes. I think I watched the unrated version because I saw some blondie's nipples in the shower, in the hot shower. Oh, that blondie was hot. She's a ripe peach, and she's not scared to wear a little nighty top and some panties. Anyways, countries: United States and Canada. English is the language. Budget $18 million. Box office $46.2 million. Pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. In 1871, William Blake, a wealthy man suffering from leprosy, arranges to purchase half of Antonio Island off the coast of Oregon to establish a leper colony for his afflicted people. However, island residents Patrick Malone, Norman Castle, Richard Wayne, and David Williams double-cross Blake. During a foggy night, they loot his clipper ship, the Elizabeth Dane, and set it on fire, killing all on board. As they escape, Williams is dragged into the sea by his spirit, much to the shock of the other men. 134 years later, the residents of Antonio Island, which is a fictional island off the coast of Oregon, I believe they used a different island off of Canada to film this. Anyway, the residents prepare to honor their founding fathers, unaware that they were the same men who burned the Elizabeth Dane, and a statue of them is to be unveiled on the town's anniversary. During a boating trip, Nick Castle and his friend Spooner unwittingly disturbed a bag containing a pocket watch and a hairbrush from the Elizabeth Dane lying on the seabed. That night, Nick meets his former girlfriend, Elizabeth Williams, the haughty blonde. We like Elizabeth Williams on this channel, who has returned after 6 months. Elizabeth is shown the antique pocket watch by Machen, an old man who found it washed up on the beach. He warns her ominously, if you touch it, things will change. The watch begins ticking as Elizabeth holds it. She sees a hallmark on it, which includes a set of scales. Later, supernatural occurrences start to plague the town. Objects move by themselves. Power outages occur, and the windows in Nick's truck inexplicably shatter. Nick and Elizabeth then encounter drunken priest Father Malone, who is ranting about murderers and retribution. Meanwhile, at the local radio station, host Stevie Wayne gets a phone call from weatherman Dan about a large fog bank off the coast out at sea on Nick's boat. Spooner and Nick's cousin Sean are partying with two young women, Mandy and Jennifer. How come I never partied with these kind of gals when I was in my early 20s? As the fog reaches them, the boat's engine stops and the instruments break. An old clipper ship appears in the fog next to them. Seeming possessed, Jennifer draws a set of scales on a misted window inside the boat. Unseen forces then kill Mandy, Jennifer, and Sean. At Nick's beach house, Elizabeth has been dreaming about the Elizabeth Dane after the hot shower scene. She searches the internet for information about the hallmark symbol she saw earlier, but her computer malfunctions and the word Dane appears on the screen. She hears a knock at the front door, goes outside, but she finds nothing. As she walks down the beach, the fog begins approaching, but Nick brings her back inside. The next day, Nick's Uncle Hank telephones him about the disappearance of his boat. Nick and Elizabeth sail out and they find the vessel and the three corpses. Nobody's in the chat room. Elizabeth goes into the hold and she finds Spooner alive in a freezer. They return to the island where Mayor Tom Malone, Father Malone's father, suspects Spooner of the murders. In the morgue, Sean's corpse briefly rises up and Sean's corpse accosts Elizabeth. Very cool scene. At the library, Elizabeth researches the scales symbol seen on the watch's hallmark. It represented an old trading colony north of Antonio Island, which generated substantial wealth through intercontinental trade, but was abandoned due to a leprosy outbreak. At the docks, Elizabeth finds the buried journal of Patrick Malone from 1871. She and Nick learn the story of the Elizabeth Dane, and they realize the founders built the town with fortune they had stolen from the ship, but they kept this secret from their families and the town folk. The ghost of the Elizabeth Dane seek revenge against Antonio Island's resident for the past crimes of its founding fathers. A little reparations there. Punish the ancestors, not the actual people who were responsible. After killing Machen on the beach and Dan at the weather station, they pursue Stevie's son Andy and his aunt Connie at home. Connie's killed. Another cool scene. But Nick and Elizabeth rescue Andy in her car. Stevie is also attacked, but she escapes. They travel to the town hall where they discover the founding fathers' crimes against the people on the Elizabeth Dane. The spirits attack the hall and kill Hank Castle, Kathy Williams, and the Malones. The ghost of Blake then sees Elizabeth despite being a descendant of David Williams. Elizabeth is the reincarnation of Blake's wife and was one of her ancestors' victims, hence her mysterious dreams about the Elizabeth Dane. Blake kisses Elizabeth. She transforms into a spirit, and she disappears as Nick watches helplessly. There goes my girlfriend. The next day, the survivors try to cope with their traumatic experiences and the truth about their ancestors. Excellent stuff. An international co-production film between the United States and Canada. The original film's makers, John Carpenter and Debra Hill, expressed interest in remaking the original film on the film's DVD commentary. They are both credited as producers for the remake. Oh, really? We'll put Debra Hill's name in the producer credit. Debra Hill. All right. That was an easy fix. The 2005 film was greenlit by Revolution Studios before the script was finished. Tom Welling had filmed for 3 weeks on the 4th season of his TV series Smallville when he started work on The Fog. Blair performed most of her stunts and spent 12 hours in the water tank with only short surface breaks for 2 days to shoot her underwater scenes. Studio Canal, which owns the rights to the original film, assisted in the film's production in exchange for French distribution rights. Although set on an island off the Oregon coast, the location scenes were filmed in Canada. Some scenes were filmed around Cowichan Bay. Most of the beach scenes were filmed in Tofino, and those of the town of Antonio Bay were filmed on Bowen Island and Fort Langley, all in British Columbia. It was one of Hill's final projects before her death from cancer in 2005. The film was not screened for critics before its release. On the review aggregator website, 4% of 68 critics' reviews are positive, with an average rating of a very low 2.9 out of 10. We love So Bad That They're Good type movies on this channel. The website's consensus reads, The Fog is so-so remake of a so-so movie lacking scares, suspense, or originality. Who cares? Just give me Fog. Metacritic, which uses a weighted average, assigns the film a score of 27 out of 100. Another low rating based on 16 critics, indicating generally unfavorable reviews. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of C- on an A+ to F scale. The Fog was widely considered an unsuccessful remake of the original 1980 movie. The Hollywood Reporter said the remake lacked the scares necessary to satisfy its target audience, and Variety said that interest lags between the grisly deaths and worse, none of the characters generates rooting into interest. Yeah, you can see the same for Friday the 13th. I didn't really care who was getting killed in that one either, but I still liked it. The film was rated D minus by Owen Gleiberman of Entertainment Weekly. In the U.S., The Fog grossed $11,752,917 on its opening weekend. The film had a final domestic gross of $29,550,869 and a total worldwide gross of $46,201,432. That's not a bad profit on an 18 million budget. I don't know why they said it was unsuccessful. All right. The film was released on DVD and VHS on January 24th, 2006. A Blu-ray version of the film has yet to be released in the US. Fremantle's Medium Rare Entertainment issued The Fog on Blu-ray in the UK on October 25th, 2021. The disc is Region B locked. The film received 2 awards. The first was the Fangoria Chainsaw Award as Worst Film, and the second was the Stinkers Bad Movie Awards for being the least scary movie. Let's see what's going on IMDb. The Fog was decent. We like The Fog on this channel. But we're almost done reviewing The Fog. Then we take a little nappy poo. All right, The Fog, 2005, rated PG-13, 1 hour, 40 minutes. It gets a very low 3.7 out of 10 on IMDb, 40,000 ratings. A lot of people hate this movie. A thick mist full of vengeful spirits haunts a prosperous island town off the coast of Oregon as its inhabitants try to learn their town's dark secret in order to stop it. Good-looking blondie there. Wouldn't mind having her as my wife. Played by Maggie Grace. Oh, she's a real. All right. More like this, The Fog, 1980. Dragon Wars D War. I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer, and House of the Dead 2. I'm going to try to get all 4 of those on my list. Though credited as producer, John Carpenter described his involvement in this way: I come in and say hello to everybody. Go home. When the truck crashes into the boat, Elizabeth is knocked unconscious inside the truck. After her flashback, she wakes up several feet outside the truck. Quotes from Nick Castle. Holy shit. Theatrical version, 100 minutes, and unrated version, 103 minutes. Featured in Feeling the Effects of the Fog, 2006. Soundtracks: Salem's Wish, written by Jamie Balling, Dan Crombie, Adam Lerner, and Jonathan Yang, performed by the Buddha Velvets, courtesy of Gotham Records, played when Nick picks up Elizabeth. All right, here's a less flattering review from This Is She. Dated October 26, 2005. She must have seen this on the big screen. This is She. All right. This is She gives it a 2 out of 10. The title of the review is on IMDb is Watch the News is Scarier. John Carpenter's name is synonymous with horror films. A few films were not well received, but he's gone on to develop a cult status. His movie, The Fog, was not considered a huge hit, but it has become near and dear to many horror film lovers' Bloody Hearts. So when it was announced that it was part of the rampage of remakes and sequels, half of those who heard rejoiced. They expected that better effects would make the film scarier. The other half of horror files just shook their heads, expecting another disaster in the film. What could a bigger budget and new hot young actors do to freshen it up? Would a bad episode of the Weather Channel really scare a new generation? I was one of the ones shaking my head skeptical, but I gave it a shot. Two of television's young actors, Tom Wellington from Smallville and Maggie Grace from Lost, star in this unnecessary update. The film tries to fill seats with promised SSA, scares, screams, and sex appeal, obvious from the quick cut trailer, which shows typical horror shots and a low shot of Maggie Grace in her underwear. We want to watch Maggie Grace in her underwear all day long. The promises are never fulfilled. The remake keeps the same plot of the first movie. Apparently, somewhere in Antonio Bay's history, people have been wronged, unhappy, and looking for revenge. These people come back in the fog around the town's anniversary. For some reason, the film forgets to add the part which makes the audience care about the characters. You don't care if the living outrun the fog or not, with scary and prophetic statements like, "It came back from the sea, things always do." This movie provokes eye-rolling and incredulous looks every 5 minutes. Hey, it's one of those so bad that it's good type movies. Obviously, fans of John Carpenter cannot appreciate those. Nothing in this movie made it redeemable. Trying to add comedy DeRay Davis as Spooner is just confusing. At the same time, makes one wonder why he's the only person who isn't white in the entire town. My folks be from Chicago. The only way that anyone should sit through this movie is if it's being used as a form of torture. Yes, we like torture movies. I recommend you tell them what they want to know and forego the pain. Why would you want to do that? We like pain. Hurt me some more. I love pain. Hurt me some more. I wish I had. Leaving a horror film shocked or scared out of your wits is a desired effect. What The Fog leaves you with is scary. You've just wasted over an hour of your life watching a needless remake. We like needless remakes on this channel. Come on. Even if Adrian didn't recommend it and he said, "Don't watch it, it's rubbish," I still wanted to see it. All right, let's go down my movies list. First up is Soul Man, 1986. Then we got Firewalker, another Chuck Norris movie, 1986. And Foreign Correspondent, 1940. That's it for now. I'm going to take my little nappy poo, and then I'll check out Soul Man. Laters.